Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'll just go through the changes quickly for you for those who weren't at the time. At leigh, at number 4, David Hill. Number 7, Phil Johnson. Number 10, Tim Street. Number 12, Tony Cottrell. And the substitutes at 14, Jason Donahue. And 15, Graham Herbert. For Widnes, the changes at number 3, Andy Currier. Number 4, Jonathan Davis. Number 8, Kurt Sorensen. Number 11, Paul June. Number 12, Amosi Coloto. 13, Richard Ayres. And the substitutes at 14, Darren Wright. And 15, Joel Grimmer. Thank you.
Good evening from Hilton Park, Leigh, for this Grunhalle Lancashire Cup second round match between Leigh and Widnes. One or two changes in both sides tonight for this game, so I'll just run through the Leigh side for you. There's Johnson at full-back, the three-quarters, Ledger, Jeffrey, Dave Hill and Standish. Half-backs, Ruane and Johnson, and in the forwards, Brown, Rapati, Street, who's moved to number 10, Collier and Cottrell in the second row, and Andy Platt at 13. Substitutes are Donahue and Herbert. Leigh kick off the match. They'll be playing from right to left in the first half in the cherry and white hoops. Widnes in the familiar white strip with black trim. Widnes are on their own line, trying to move the ball away through Coloto. They're just a yard from their own post, Widnes. Straight away, an offside decision by the referee, but some talking by the Leigh forwards, and another 10 yards for Widnes. So a penalty then to ease the pressure for Widnes. Jonathan Davis safely into touch on this side. The Widnes side tonight, Alan Tate at fullback, Brian McKebby, a return for Andy Currier, Jonathan Davis and Martin Afire. Here's Brian McKebby just losing his feet. A man rich in form at the moment, scoring a try a game at least for Widnes in the last couple of weeks, and in fact on the last two outings has scored 4 tries on both occasions. Widnes then midway between their own 25 and halfway on this near touchline. Amosi Coloto, but a good tackle by 2 Leigh forwards. Now Sorensen back after a 2-match suspension. The ball thrown back to Alan Tate. A long kick downfield by Alan Tate. But a mistake by Standish on the left wing. Trying to take that ball on the full. It's a knock on, and that will be a scrum down midway between the Leigh 25 and halfway. David Hume will put the ball in for Widnes, and they have it. Now Tony Myler. Alan Tate's in the line. First chance for Andy Currier. Currier slips through the gap, races towards the Leigh line, looks on the outside. But a superb break by Andy Currier early in this game. Now Martin Afire from halfback. He couldn't get his way through there. Widnes are just 10 yards short here on the far side of the field, moving the ball across field here. But that ball just a little too low for Derek Pike to take. Derek Pike, an ex-Leigh captain, when he was here, a great favourite with the Hilton crowd, Hilton Park crowd. As I say, a former captain of Leigh and indeed a second division player of the year. So it's a scrum down then. Leigh have the ball, but the whistle's gone. Referee not satisfied with something in that scrum. Both sets of forwards have to get down again. Well, the referee says that is feeding by Phil Johnson and has awarded Widnes a penalty in centre field. Jonathan Davis opting to find touch on this side. Finds it quite comfortably, so a chance for more pressure here from Widnes. They've taken play deep inside the Leigh 25. Now Caloto, but an excellent tackle from Cottrell, bringing down the Tongan. Widnes still in possession. Derek Pike trying to work a position for Widnes here. Phil McKenzie, with that ball going to ground, picked up by Tony Myler. Has to bring it back inside. But Widnes gain no more yardage here. McKenzie on the run around. And in fact, Martin Ofaya has to drop on that loose ball. Widnes lose 5 or 6 yards in that move. Now Caloto. The ball goes to ground, and it's a knock-on. So Widnes couldn't move that pressure into any points. Good tackling by the Leigh forwards, and in the end, the ball going to ground, and that's a scrum down. Johnson trying to bring it away for Leigh then, just outside his own 25. Good run from Cottrell, makes 10 yards for his side. Excellent tackle from Derek Pike. Well, the referee didn't say it was an excellent tackle. He said that was a high tackle by Derek Pike on Tim Street, so that's a penalty to Leigh. Platt with the penalty then. So Leigh move into the Widnes half of the field. No support on the inside. Now Rapati going from half-back. Makes it to just about the Widnes 25. Leigh have a chance here. Now Platt chooses to straighten the play up. Can't find a way through. Good tackling from Caloto and by Derek Pike. Street. But Leigh can't make any impression on the Widnes defence here. Rapati tries a short kick towards the Widnes line. Brian McKebby comes across, covering the ball, and does well. In fact, races to the far side of the field, where he takes play just outside his own 25. Ofaya is a half-back. Ofaya almost getting through. Good tackle from Street. It needed to be. Well, the Leigh prop forward, Tim Street, wasn't satisfied with bringing Martin Ofaya to ground. In the end, he had a second go at him. It really was silly because he'd made a very good tackle on the flying wingman. He'd done his work, and in the end, waste the good work by giving away a penalty. You can't afford to do that against Widnes, because with a man of the calibre of Jonathan Davis kicking for touch, you lose your side at least 40 to 50 yards. So it's Widnes then, inside the Leigh half of the field. Derek Pike. The referee then, not satisfied again, saying that Derek Pike was tackled and unfairly the Leigh forwards prized that ball from his grasp. It's another penalty for Widnes. And this time Jonathan Davis is opting for goal. This will be a kick of just under 40 yards. A pretty straight kick and well within the range of Jonathan Davis. Well, a very good crowd on at Hilton Park tonight. Jonathan Davis then, with about 10 minutes of the first half gone, has a chance to put the first point on the board for Widnes. It's a very high kick indeed, but it was wide of the near upright. And Standish trying to bring that ball away for his side, does well. Leigh in possession then, inside their own 25. Tim Street again, but this time met by 3 Widnes forwards. Well, the home supporters getting behind their side, trying to urge their forwards to greater things, but at the moment they're hemmed on their own 25 in centre field. Rapati throws it back to Platt, but he can't find touch. Brian McKebby coming across and doing well, taking the ball on the full, just outside his own 25. But that was an excellent tackle by Platt. He did well. Tate's a halfback, chance to settle things down, which he does so, allowing the Widnes forwards to regather behind him. So Widnes are just outside their own 25. Richie Ayres. Now Derek Pike switches the ball to Sorensen. Superb break by the Widnes skipper. Finds Courier on the outside. But a super pass from Kurt Sorensen and the ball going to ground. Well, unlucky play there for Widnes. Meanwhile, Leigh in possession. Johnson the fullback. Now Platt, tackled by his opposite number, Richie Ayres. Leigh still moving the ball to the right, trying to find some room on that far touchline, but in the end, that intended pass for Barry Ledger finds its way into touch on the far side, and that will be a scrum down. About 12 or 13 minutes gone of the first half then, no score, just that one penalty attempt for Widnes. Meanwhile, they have the ball, Tony Myler. Jonathan Davis can't get through on the switch play. Widnes moving the ball to the right, David Hume. The ball taken by Coloto. But some good tackling early on by Leigh. Now Richie Ayres. But that is form, if you like, for every Widnes match. They are there to be knocked down. They are the champions. They are arguably the best side in British Rugby League. And for the first 10 or 12 minutes or so of any game, whatever the calibre of the opposition, they will try to knock Widnes off the game. They all try it. Widnes seem prepared to take that for the first quarter of the game and then open up. We should see. Tony Myler. Tate's in the line. Long pass to Offiah. And Martin Offiah will race in the corner for the first try of the evening. Simple rugby league, played at speed. There really is no answer to it. If you have the fastest men and you use quick hands to get it out to the wingmen, then it will bring rich reward. 14 minutes gone of the match. Martin Offiah opens the account for Widnes. This leaves Jonathan Davis with a very difficult conversion attempt indeed, out on that far side. Well, the distance and the height okay, but it's just the direction, just off as it goes past the far post. And so is about 14 minutes gone then. Widnes lead by 4 points to 0, thanks to the 11th try of the season by Martin Offiah. Good healthy competition this season, I think, for Martin Offiah, because that brings him up to the 11 try mark, and his wing partner on the other side, Brian McKebby, exactly on 11 as well. So Widnes then in possession inside their own 25. Richie Ayres. Now Coloto stepping off 1 foot, doing very well. Finds support inside from Jonathan Davis. He gets into the Leigh half of the field, finds Paul Hume. The ball switched back to Martin Offiah, and Martin Offiah has a chance to score his second try of the night, but some excellent cover tackling by Johnson. That really was good cover tackling from Leigh. Widnes, though, still in a good position here if they can move the ball across field, which they do. Tony Myler looks for support on the outside, but that pass from Tony Myler just going astray when it looked all over another Widnes try. But again, Widnes showing pace again from deep inside their own half of the field. First, Amosi Coloto finding Jonathan Davis, who took the play another 50 yards. And it was only some stern cover tackling from Johnson for Leigh that kept out Martin Offiah again. Leigh are in possession then. But it's a knock on by Street, and that will be a scrum down. David Hume will feed the scrummage for Widnes when the referee's satisfied. Widnes have the ball, the switch play, Alan Tate's in the line. And simplicity itself. That is exactly the type of try that Widnes will be looking for throughout the coming season. The ball coming out, and before the lead cover or forwards could see what was happening, Alan Tate came onto that ball in a flash, and nobody laid a finger on him on the way to the line. And again, Jonathan Davis just pulling that ball wide of the upright. And so the score stays at Leigh 0, Widnes 8, with about 16 or 17 minutes gone. Leigh restart the match. Now Kebby again. Tony Myler almost getting through. Paul Hume. Widnes slowly taking play to outside their own 25. Then a chance to move it quickly, but good tackling there from two Leigh forwards. They did well. Now Mackenzie from half-back finds Coloto. And Widnes are still away again here through David Hume. The ball passed back inside to Tony Myler. Excellent support play again from Widnes, and in the end, the final ball just going to ground after being juggled by Paul Hume. So already still in the first quarter of the game, and it really is looking very ominous indeed for Leigh. You would think that they'll do well to keep the score down anything like at all. But Dave Ruane, ex-Widnes player, trying to get his side going here on halfway. Leigh moving the ball to the left. Johnson joins the line and in fact keeps the ball alive. Jeffrey, with a good tackle by Coloto. Well, a knock on by Tony Cottrell, and perhaps the rare opportunities that Leigh are going to have this evening against Widnes, they really can't afford to do things like that. But some respite for Leigh here. The referee saying that David Hume was feeding that scrummage and has awarded Leigh a penalty just about on halfway. Platt will take this penalty and indeed finds such, making another 20 or 25 yards for his side. So Rapati will take this tap for Leigh. Brown, good charge. Chance here for Leigh then, through Street, but a good tackle by Coloto. Well, a drop goal attempt by Phil Johnson. Some of the home supporters not very happy with that at all. It's really not got to last resort tactics yet for Leigh, but having said that, a scrum down, says the referee. Derek Pike, in fact, saying to the referee he thought that he'd been held and the ball was prized from his grasp, but the referee having none of that. And it's a scrum down. Leigh in possession then. Dave Hill. Leigh moving the ball to the right, trying to find some sort of gap in the Widnes defence. Well, a loose ball, but the referee says play on, saying that a Widnes player touched that ball. And now Rapati from half-back, but he's met by three Widnes forwards just outside the Widnes 25. Chance for Leigh to move the ball across field. Now Brown, a long pass this time. Now Dave Hill. He's tackled by Andy Courier with some help from Phil McKenzie. Phil Johnson doing well for Leigh, trying to get his side away. But that's a knock on, making 10 yards from halfback, trying to catch Widnes asleep, but that being a very difficult thing to do these days. Nonetheless, a very good spell here for Leigh, keeping Widnes deep inside their own half for the last 5 or 6 minutes. And that gives the Leigh fans some encouragement. Fine run by Barry Ledger. Leigh moving the ball to the right. Now Platt. Tony Cottrell looking inside for support, finds it, but the ball goes to ground. And in fact, Brian McKebby has to cover for Widnes, and the referee says play on. Widnes are deep inside their own 25. Alan Tate straightening play up, trying to find a gap in centre field. Can't do so. Now Derek Pike. Obviously, for personal reasons, a very big game for Derek Pike this evening. As I said, a former captain of this side. And he'll certainly want to impress his former fans. Richie Ayres. Widnes playing one-man rugby just at the minute and don't seem to be getting anywhere. The ball thrown back to Jonathan Davis. Oh, but a fine bit of play by Jonathan Davis, dummying to kick and in fact making 60 yards for his side. Still going Davis, has support on the outside. And the ball just going to ground from Andy Courier. Well,
Silver attention please, would all the programme tellers please return to the commercial office. Thank you. All the programme tellers please return to the commercial office.
Well, the referee having very strong words indeed with Andy Courier, because that really did spoil what was an excellent piece of play by Jonathan Davis. He feinted to kick deep inside his own 25 and in the end beat 5 or 6 players to take play into the Leigh half, offloaded to Andy Courier, but the ball went to ground, and in the end the referee and the linesman saying that Andy Courier, some overzealous play from the Widnes centre, and that's a penalty for Leigh. So Rapati then. Will take the tap for Leigh. Now Tim Street faces Sorensen and Coloto. That means there's nowhere to go for him. Now Platt. Short ball to Brown, but a super tackle by Derek Pike. That really was a good tackle on the New Zealand prop forward. Leigh still moving the ball very well. Well, certainly Leigh have stepped up a gear in the last 10 or 12 minutes and certainly making a better effort at this. Here's Sorensen though for Widnes. Now Coloto. Well, to be fair, over the last few weeks, Leigh have had some bad reverses as far as they're concerned. They've given away barrel loads of points. And for a moment, it looked as if that what would happen tonight. But they really do appear to have stemmed the tide for now. Johnson, the fullback. The ball going loose. Well, the referee says that's okay, and Leigh is still in possession then. Inside their own half of the field. Standish, the wingman, doing well. Now Street. It looked like an elbow there, but Coloto's robbed the ball for Widnes, I think. No. He looked for a second as if he had done. Well, he did, in fact, because the referee has wiped the tackles clean. Well, Widnes get the ball back through Sorensen here. Offloads to Brian McKebby. This match has certainly come to life. It was in danger of being one-way traffic. Leigh are making a game of it, there's no question of that. Now Coloto in centre field, offloads the ball to Paul Hume, back to Alan Tate. But quite rightly, the referee right on the spot, and that pass was perhaps a foot or two forward. But another excellent counter-attack from Widnes. The referee, quite rightly on that occasion, giving a forward pass. Perhaps one or two of the Widnes supporting players were a little too close to each other there, and they couldn't swivel enough to get the ball away. Meanwhile, Leigh then in possession. Dave Ruane, ex-Widnes, doing well for his side. There's about 12 minutes left of this first half. Widnes still lead by 8 points to 0. Tries by Martin Ofaya and Alan Tate. Tim Street's at half-back. Now Brown. That ball going loose. And in fact, Street gets it back for Leigh. Keeping the ball alive for his side. Now Platt. The ball going loose again, but it's okay. Play on. Leigh are trying everything they have to keep this game going. Standish almost getting through. The home side certainly making a game of it here. Collier, long pass to Ledger, but Tony Myler gets across. And in fact, tackles Ledger into touch, and the game settles down with a scrum on the far side. Let's have it this time. Moving the ball across field. Chance for Andy Courier. Gets Kebby away on this side. Kebby's faced by Standish. Good tackle by the young wingman. He did well. Brian McKebby has a very good swerve at full speed. That was a good pass from Courier. But they have to switch it back. Paul Hume. Some keen tackling indeed by the home side at the moment. Not allowing Widnes to get in the stride at all. But here's David Hume. Offloads the ball. Courier picks it up. Chance here for Andy Courier. Almost getting through. Sorensen. Now Pike. Short ball round to Sorensen, but it goes to ground. And really, Derek Pike telegraphed that. So it's a scrum down there, right on halfway in the centre of the field, and Leigh have it. Phil Johnson losing his footing. But Leigh is still in possession here. Platt keeps the ball alive. Good run by Dave Ruane, he does well. He has Tate to beat, steps inside, and in fact, almost scoring the first try of the night for Leigh. That was a super run by the standoff. A chance here for Leigh to open their account. Johnson couldn't get the ball away to Ledger. In fact, the referee has pulled 3 or 4 Widnes players up on that far side for offside and has awarded Leigh a penalty. Brown shaping to take the short one. Does so, charges for the Widnes line, and he's held up just a yard short. So the best chance of the game so far for Leigh. Moving it to the right, but the ball goes loose, and Martin Ofaya almost getting through. And again, swift counter-attack. Martin Ofaya trying to offload that ball. So that puts Leigh still back on the attack. Street has the ball, but again it goes to ground under heavy tackling. And it's still loose, and in fact, well, there must have been a dozen knock-ons there in the space of about 10 seconds. And in the end, the only result was that it was going to be a scrum down. Everybody had a bit of a bite at that ball, and nobody could pick it up cleanly. Scrum down then. Leigh have the ball. Platt goes for the line himself, and in fact, scores a try. Well, to be absolutely fair about it, it's no less than Leigh have deserved in the last 10 minutes. They've taken the game to Widnes, have gone close on 2 or 3 occasions, and in the end, Platt forces his way over to the right of the post, and Leigh are right back in the game. It looked all the way 2 points for Leigh. The crowd on the far side thought so, but the ball hits the far upright. And with about 6 minutes left of the first half, Leigh have brought themselves back into the game. It's Leigh 4, Widnes 8. A typical cup tie. As I say, perhaps Leigh not having the best of it in the league so far this season. But when it comes to a cup tie against Widnes, as I say, any side will lift their game. And that's exactly what Leigh have done in the last 20 minutes. Chance for Leigh here to move the ball to the left. A long pass looking for Standish. He's faced by Kebby. But in fact, it was Courier who made the tackle. Courier again, this time on Tim Street, the prop forward. Every single run by any Leigh player now is greeted with roars of approval from their fans. Brown, long kick downfield. Alan Tate gets across. There's 5 minutes left of a very exciting half of cup tie football. Martin afire from half-back. Well, that looked a little high, that tackle. And in fact, the referee pulling out a Leigh player for that. It really did look a high tackle on Afire. So a chance for Widnes to ease the pressure then. Jonathan Davis with a penalty for Widnes. Makes it up to halfway. So perhaps a chance for Widnes in this last 5 minutes to swing the game back their way. Sorensen. But that try will certainly have given the Leigh side some encouragement. There's no question of that. Paul Hume. David Hume on the run around with Pike, but Pike dummies the ball, finds Tony Myler. Alan Tate. Now Andy Courier. Some very keen tackling from Leigh here on this near side. Now a chance for Widnes to move the ball. Coloto trying to straighten the play up, does well. Looks for support on the outside. But some good tackling again from Leigh. Last tackle, says the referee, Kurt Sorensen. Fires from half-back. Keeps the ball alive, back inside. Derek Pike, good charge from Pike. Almost getting the ball into the gap. Now Phil McKenzie. But the referee saying that on the sixth tackle, that ball had gone to ground. And indeed, has awarded a turnover on the Leigh 25. Perhaps 4 minutes left end of the first half. It's still Leigh 4, Widnes 8. And Brown with a turnover for Leigh. Now Cottrell taking the ball out to the right, settling things down for his side. Tim Street. Certainly a workhorse in that front row for Leigh tonight. He's done well so far. Now Collier. The ball thrown back to Brown. It's a long kick downfield by Brown. Kebby will come across. It's a very good kick indeed. Kebby takes that ball. He's faced by Platt. Floats around Platt, but in the end is brought down by Phil Johnson. Well, 3 Leigh players are caught in an offside position by the referee. And Widnes will ease the pressure in the shape of Jonathan Davis. Safely into touch on halfway then. Perhaps the last chance of the half. Phil McKenzie. David Hume. Derek Pike, but a good tackle by Brown. Well, the linesman on this side bringing to the attention of the referee a knock on by the Widnes player, and that is a scrum down just inside the Widnes half of the field then. The first half drawing to a close rapidly, and they'll have to scrum down again because although Leigh won the ball, Phil Johnson knocked that ball forward. David Hume. Widnes have the ball. David Hume coming on the blind side. A good tackle by his opposite number. Last chance for Widnes here then, perhaps. Now Sorensen. Good tackle from Brown. Play on, says the referee. Brown doing well for his side. Now his colleague Street gets up to halfway. Long pass finding Platt. Jeffrey, but he can't offload the ball to Ledger. Leigh just inside the Widnes half of the field. Now Platt again. He's coming more into the game in the last quarter. A very quiet first 20 minutes for Platt, but he seems to have come into the game a lot more here. Rapati. Good tackle by Pike, and then by Richie Ayres. Johnson, but overdoing the kick forward. Two minutes to go to half-time then. Sorensen. Now Derek Pike. Back to Sorensen again. Has to straighten the play up, Sorensen. Almost getting the ball away, but it's a loose ball and a chance here for Leigh. Dave Hill takes play to within 10 yards of the Widnes line. The home fans getting behind the side. A loose pass by Widnes, setting up this position here for Leigh. Platt again. Long ball looking for Ledger, but he couldn't take it in his stride. Ledger has to come back inside. A super run by Ledger, and in fact Courier getting across with some good cover tackling. Pressure here again from Leigh. Ledger just 2 yards short. Brown's at half-back. Puts a kick into the far side. But it was a knock-on. Enthusiastic cheers from the home supporters on the far side. But applause for Leigh.
Can I have your attention, please, with Mr. M. Lindsay, L. Jones, and P. Davis. Please report to the commercial.
Leigh then, a last effort at the Widnes line. Jeffrey the centre. Leigh are in front of the Widnes post here. Almost half-time. Street the prop forward. Still going, looking for support, can't find it. Now Rapati. Shaping for the little kick, but didn't do so. Still going. Widnes are doing well to keep Leigh out here. Bringing it to the blind side, Ruane with a long pass. But a good tackle by Kebby on Dave Hill. The fullback dummies to kick, and in fact has found a gap here. They're still just a yard short. Good tackling by Widnes. Leigh cannot find that gap, but here's the last tackle. And in fact, some very alert play indeed by Widnes. And they keep the ball as the hooter goes for half-time. As I say, Widnes had the better of the first quarter, but there's no doubt that Leigh came back in the second 20 minutes. And warm applause for both sides. An exciting Lancashire Cup second round here. It's half-time score of Leigh 4, Widnes 8.